In today's video, we dive into one of the craziest chapters in Ethereum's history. We're talking about ICO Mania. Now, some of you might remember this time. Everyone was launching new tokens. There were hundreds of new coins every week, and everyone was trying to get rich from these tokens. If you wanted to make millions of dollars, all you had to do was start a project and launch your own coin. That sounds pretty crazy. Well, it's true. This was the Wild West of cryptocurrency, and it was insane. Now here's the kicker. It all happened in just a few minutes because Ethereum made it so easy. Welcome back to DCA Crypto, the #1 YouTube channel for crypto education and news. And here we explain topics of the cryptocurrency world using analogies, stories, and examples so that you can easily understand them. In this video, we are going to explain what ICOs are, how they worked, and why they are so important to the history of cryptocurrencies. First off, what is an ICO? Well, it's actually quite simple. ICO stands for Initial Coin Offering, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the initial offering of a new coin. Think of it like an IPO, an initial public offering, which is when companies go public. Instead of going through a stock market and getting their shares publicly traded, though, ICOs happen outside of the traditional financial system. They happen on the blockchain. And the reason that ICOs took off was because of the Ethereum network and their ERC20 token standard. If you don't know what ERC20 is, check out our video on what ERC20 is, because it will really help you understand how Ethereum works. Basically, it's like a software development kit. It's a way to create new tokens without having to build everything from scratch. So if you wanted to create your own currency, all you had to do was download this software development kit, change a few things, and then publish your own token. That's why there were so many ICOs in 2017 and 2018. It was because Ethereum made it so easy. Some of the biggest projects around today actually started with an ICO. Ethereum competitors like Cardano, Solana, Tezos, EOS, all of these big projects got their start with an ICO. Stablecoins like Tether and USD Coin, decentralized finance protocols like MakerDAO, they all started with an ICO. But not all of them were good ideas and not all of them were well executed. Let's talk about some of the biggest ICOs and how much money they raised. Filecoin, a project that basically allows people to use a blockchain-based system for cloud storage. They raised $257 million, which at the time was the largest amount of money ever raised. After them, we have Tezos. Tezos is another proof-of-stake protocol similar to Ethereum. They raised $232 million. And then we have EOS, which is a blockchain project focused on scalability. They raised $210 million. But it wasn't just these big projects that were raising tons of money. Small projects that had nothing, literally nothing but a white paper, were raising millions of dollars in minutes. They would release their tokens for sale, and within minutes they would sell out. Some of these projects didn't even have a product, a website, or a team. All they had was an idea and a bunch of hype. Investors poured billions of dollars into these ICOs, dreaming of getting in on the next big thing. This period was like the Wild West of investing. Anyone who had some spare cash could pull out their wallet and buy a token. Some saw this as a chance to invest in the future of technology. Others just saw it as a get-rich-quick scheme. Now let's be clear. Some of these ICOs were legitimate, and they went on to build great products. But many were not. One of the most popular tokens during this time was called BitConnect. BitConnect claimed to be a lending platform that used cryptocurrency to give loans. They sold their coin in an ICO and raised $5 million. Within a year, they had grown to over $40 million, which made their coin very valuable. However, it turned out that the whole thing was a Ponzi scheme. They were paying early investors with money from later investors. Eventually, the CEO was charged with fraud, and BitConnect lost $2.6 billion in a hack. Another popular ICO was CentraTech. CentraTech claimed to be a blockchain-based marketing firm. They did something that we see a lot with these ICOs. They got celebrities like Floyd Mayweather and Paris Hilton to promote their coin. They raised $32 million in their ICO and then they disappeared. They ran away with the money. Now some of you might be thinking, why didn't someone stop this? Why didn't the government step in? Well, that's a great question. At the time, cryptocurrencies were largely unregulated, and ICOs were seen as a new and innovative way to raise money. Now, to be fair, ICOs aren't illegal, but there are plenty of scams and there's a lot of ways to take advantage of people. Today, things are different. The SEC is cracking down on projects that violate securities laws, and there are many ongoing cases against projects that didn't follow rules. One of the first high-profile cases was against a company called Kick Interactive. They were a video game company that tried to raise money with an ICO. The SEC said that they violated securities laws and made them return $20 million. Another case was against a company called Air Token. They claimed to be an air quality monitoring company, but the SEC said that they were really just a Ponzi scheme. They ordered the company and its CEO to pay $19.6 million. All of this is to say that things have changed since the ICO boom, but that doesn't mean that ICOs stopped happening. ICOs still happen today, but they are much less common than they were back in 2017 and 2018. So what can we learn from this? What can we take away from this crazy time in history? Well, first off, we can learn that not everything shiny is gold. Just because something is hyped or has a bunch of investors doesn't mean that it's a good investment. You have to do your research and you have to make sure that you understand the project and their goals. Second, we learned that regulation does have a purpose. Yes, regulations can slow things down, and yes, they can sometimes hurt innovation, but they also protect investors from scams and fraud. Third, we learned that true innovation doesn't need hype. Real innovation can stand on its own, and it doesn't need fancy marketing to sell tokens. Finally, we learned that the ability to raise money fast doesn't replace the need for real value. Now, this may sound obvious, but back in 2017 and 2018, this was not the case. Many projects thought that all they had to do was market their token well and then people would automatically want to buy it. This is not true. You have to provide real value. You have to solve a real problem. Otherwise, people won't want to use your product and your token will become worthless. It's funny because Ethereum actually ended up benefiting from this ICO mania. Despite all of the bad things that happened, Ethereum ended up being stronger because of it. During the ICO boom, developers realized how powerful Ethereum was. Many of the projects that launched ICOs built on Ethereum and that helped grow the network. Also, many investors who lost money on bad ICOs became more careful and more educated, and they ended up investing in more established projects like Ethereum. The ICO mania was like a double-edged sword. On one hand, it helped fund some of the biggest projects in crypto today. On the other hand, it also showed the world how dangerous hype can be. Now, this isn't the only time that hype has affected the cryptocurrency market. Check out our video on the 2018 bear market where we talk about how fear can also affect the price of cryptocurrencies. If you want to learn how hype affects the crypto market and how to navigate it safely, stick with us at DCA Crypto. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. We hope that you enjoyed it. We really hope that maybe you learned something. And most of all, as we always say, never stop learning.